Football lives in our hearts. It's our lifelong passion. The dream of representing our country has become a reality. Since that moment, we've been on an exciting ride. Joy, pain, and unity.
Saudi Arabia has been making a name for itself on the international footballing stage.
Saudi Arabia making incredible progress in the world of women's sports.
Our journey is only just starting, and our history is still being written with every pass, jewel, save, and goal. Today, we mark the start of a new chapter on the global stage. We are forging our own paths, and our ambitions know no bounds. We are the Saudi Arabian women's national team.
Layan, we just heard your voice on the video, so I'm gonna give you the honor with the first question. So you are currently living your dream. You are playing for your childhood club, Ittihad, and you are playing for the national team. I guess it's not really a question, but I would like, and everybody would like to know what it feels to make history. So what did you feel when you first went into the pitch for the first ever game of the Saudi national team?
Hi, thanks for having me. First, I just want to take a moment to thank my dad, who's here today to support me. And he's always been here. He's always here to support me in every match and every step of my journey. So thanks, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Of course, as you guys all know, women's football here in Saudi has gone through just a tragic change. The rapid growth happening in this industry is crazy, and to be a part of it is, I always tell them, it's like I'm in a racetrack, and you just gotta kind of run and race and to try and align with the development that's happening, so it's really incredible. As you said, we did write history when we played our first match in the Maldives. I remember it all went so fast. I mean, we went from the tryouts with Coach Monika. I think it was like 700, 800 of us trying out. And then once we were chosen, we went to the camp, and it was this really long camp to kind of build a team, you know, from scratch. And then we flew to Maldives, and there we were, like, we looked at each other like, here we go, you know, here goes nothing. We're gonna face another country, and you look down at your badge, and it was like a dream, to be honest. So that moment was and the fact that we got to win both matches against the Maldives and Seychelles, they were the first ever international matches for us. 2-0 and was the score for both the matches. So it was like really like indescribable. I can't really describe how it felt in the moment to play, to represent the country, to win, you know, and it was on international grounds too, so it was incredible. That was an amazing moment.
Can you maybe tell us about Monika's reaction after the game?
How much of that do you want me to tell them, Monika? Coach Monika was really proud of us. I think she was just, I think maybe she wasn't expecting that as our first game ever, and that we just started a month ago, you know, for us to be able to play in unity and to really compete at that level. So I think she was very, very proud of us. I remember we were all like, jumping everywhere, running around as if we won the World Cup. It was insane. Yeah, I remember we were very excited.
Very good. So good transition to Monika then. Monika, you have quite a rich and diverse career in football as a player, as a coach, as a manager, national team. I guess you have been here for 3 years now and your role is evolving, but I would like to go back over the past 3 years and ask you, what was your proudest moment? We cannot hear Monika.
Is there... Is there a microphone? Yeah. It's good. Yes.
So now everybody can hear me well. Thank you for being here and all welcome. I hope they all come back from lunch because they're missing a very, very interesting part of this summit. And I'm here now actually 2 years and 2 months, so it's not quite 3 years. And I think one of the really highlight is in these 2 years and 2 months to be part of this history and to be part of what happened here in this country. And I think when we played the first match, Layan was just describing what was going on in their head. And we were, one day before the match, we went to the stadium where we played the match, and then players said, wow, this is a big stadium, coach. We are going to play here. Yes, yes, we're going to play the first match. And I didn't know what to expect. And I was amazed by their passion, by their determination. And then win the game, the first ever international match, and everybody was so happy, and everybody was part of this, and it's for me amazing how the commitment is from the leadership, from the president, from the GS. You met one of these 3 powerful women already this morning, Atwa Al-Rifi. She is the deputy minister in sport, and Lamia Bayan, she's the vice president, and of course there is another one, Alia Rashid. She's not here. She's the director of women football in Saudi Football Federation. And one thing they all have in common, they all played together in one team, they know the game, and they have a dream to go to the World Cup one day. And as they're getting a bit older, they were actually in the tryout. We had 800 registered players in the tryout for the national team when we started. And I was alone, just with my assistant coach. And David, I saw him today, he helped me from the men's national team. And we found this national team. And because of their power and their belief that women be part of this game, that's where we are right now, because when I started, they said, you're very fast. And I said, well, I'm German, and I have a Mercedes, so I go very fast. And now they overtook me because they're driving a Ferrari. And they want to go fast, and they want to really get women football going in a very serious way. So I'm very proud of this part of this history.
Very good. Thank you, Monika. I will build on the overtaking point that you just mentioned and maybe talk to Henrik a bit. So, Henrik, you've seen a lot of support from technology to accelerate the development of the game in general and of the women's game. So, I guess if we want to accelerate the development and maybe leapfrog some of the established systems in place, how can technology help us get there and get there as fast as possible?
Yeah, thanks for the question, and thanks for inviting me. It's amazing to be on stage with these awesome women here. So we believe that the talent is everywhere. Everything starts with the youth. The challenge is often that talent and youth don't have access to technology in the same way that the professional side have. And we believe that technology can really amplify, really accelerate the sport, and especially the talent development side. So we're now working with more than 40,000 clubs around the world. This year alone, we captured more than 2 million games, and using that technology, that video, to accelerate talent development. So we're seeing a massive adoption in youth clubs, in grassroots clubs, to accelerate coaching and really amplify the coaching in these clubs. But I think the most interesting thing here is more like, how can we use technology to scale coaching? Because Monika, an amazing coach, but I mean, I'm sure you don't have time to see every game in Saudi Arabia. So how can we help you scale your time? And by deploying more cameras, by having more video in youth sport in Saudi Arabia, you can actually be able to watch more games. You can also be able to take your coaching philosophy and actually structure it and make it more methodical, so that all coaching happens in the same way. So I think there's a massive opportunity here in Saudi Arabia to actually accelerate and scale the talent development by using technology.
Good. Thank you, Henrik. Maram, I'll move to you, and maybe a bit of a personal question to start. So you have a very successful career at Aramco. You are managing now or driving the Eastern Flames Club, which you told me backstage is no longer just a club, it's becoming like a big establishment. And you also have a family. So the question really is, how do you manage to split your time across all of this?
It's working. Good afternoon, everyone. How do I manage my time? I would say learning from the 7 habits of highly effective people. Big things, first things first. How to have my big rocks and my small rocks made me understand what do I need to do and what is important and urgent and what do I need to delegate for others. Knowing how to manage my time made me able to manage all of these hats that I'm wearing as an owner of the club, as a president, as an employee, as a mother, as a friend, and being here around you today. What do you want to know more?
I guess we spoke a lot about making history and pride, and maybe I direct the question to you. What was your proudest moment since you started with the Eastern Flames?
Oh, wow. What's the proudest moment? Which one should I pick? Okay, let's bring it into context, and let's talk about Eastern Flames a bit. So, Eastern Flames have been established in 2006. That's almost 20 years ago, when a lot of things didn't happen for females or women in sports. But it was there, not regulated. During that time I was playing, I'm a huge fan of football. Every female in Saudi loves football. Female and male, we all love football. That being said, playing recreationally, I would say, until 2018. And that was what I would call the transformation year. The first time I was invited by the Saudi Football Federation to represent the country and go to the AFC Women Football Development. For me, that was the aha moment. Because as the panelist before us said, and I'll echo what she was saying, it was the first milestone of setting the strategy of female football. In Saudi Arabia here, we were looking at what others were doing and looking at what we were doing, as being aware of what we were doing, and then making sure that we set a strategy that would take us where we want to be. Yes, we had some bumps in the road, but I think we're now flying with that. Now, and I would say after Corona, and after getting my master's degree from ESADE, Spain, and learning from one of the most successful football federation and working with them, I'm taking my football club to a different path. Competing head to head with the big clubs. We are the only female football club owned and operated by females that is competing at the premier level. All the other clubs, all 7 other clubs are public, and we are all the only one private. We take care also of our pipeline. Again, something that I knew that is one of the things that makes a club sustainable. Our pipeline is fully on board, and we have the right technology, VEO, to take care of that. So what was my proudest moment? It was when I was in the car with my kids and a private number calls without a number. I answered, and it was the King's Diwan al-Maliki. They were calling me to ask me to join them to be celebrated as one of the accomplished females out of 5 that have done so much to the country before even starting. So that was the King Salman recognition of all of the sports initiative that we have done in 2019. Have in mind, in 2019, we didn't have a regulated or organized sport yet, but we were recognized for it because we had the foundation. And what I call this is where women football started and where it continues. That was the proudest moment, because the year after that, it's when we started the recreational league, and look at us now. We have the first league, the Premier League, and then first division, and they just announced that we will have a second division. So I think we are not sprinting, we are in an elevator, to be honest, when it comes to development.
Absolutely, and that's such an inspiring story. Thank you, Maram.
You're welcome.
Misha, I'll move to you now. So you have been involved in women's football across multiple stages of development and across multiple functions, whether it's commercial, broadcasting, talent acquisition, grassroots. What do you think are the components of a well-functioning women's football ecosystem?
Great question. I think what you notice in some of the most successful women's football organizations that you have now, there is to Monika's point, there's a clear leadership at the top. People at the top believe in what they're building and the journey that they're on and the time it's going to take, and everyone gets behind it. I mean, it seems very simple, but whether you look at Angel City or whether you look at Arsenal, you look at other organizations, that's where it stops. You meet people at the top there, you realize where that vision starts, and then they bring people in. And I'm not talking about taking some people from the men's game and putting them on and having a few people work on tickets and merchant. No, they have an entire team of people and expert people who understand social media, who understand commercial, who understand marketing, who understand fan engagement, because all those elements brought together is what creates a product longer term that people want to consume. Right? So it's not about selling tickets to a particular game. It's about how do you build something that people want to be a part of. You go to, I had a conversation earlier with a few people here, you go to Arsenal this weekend, they had 60,000 people there. 2 years ago they had 8. And when you're around and you see what they're doing and how they're, what they've done to build it that way as opposed to some of the other clubs who are not, it is having 15 or 20 people who are working in ticket sales and marketing and social media and so on, as opposed to others who don't. Same goes for some of the American clubs that do so well. They create something that people want to be a part of. It's not just a football game. I've been to quite a few Angel City games. I couldn't tell you what the score was, but I can tell you I had an amazing time, and so did everyone else who was there. And they think about that. They think about what it means to buy a ticket, what's the journey like, what can you eat when you're there, what's the entertainment, what's the whole experience. And the second point I'll make is it's how they work with their partners, because ultimately you got to bring everyone on that journey with you, your commercial partners, your broadcast partners, and how they build those sort of partnerships to be able to elevate everything they're doing. So go from that transaction of someone becomes a sponsor, we give them tickets, we give them some signage. No, you bring partners in who can invest in their marketing, who can leverage their relationship with broadcasters to make sure the games are being televised. That's how you grow. So I think, when we look at what's happening around the world and what can be applied here, it's about finding like-minded people, like-minded commercial partners, broadcasters who believe in what you believe and are willing to do their part to be able to elevate, so looking for these equations where 1 + 1 = 3 or 5, like what Google are doing, what Ally Bank are doing, how they're leveraging their spending power and their connections and expertise to raise the whole game.
Okay, very good. I want to go back to you, Maram, building on the point on commercial partners. What do you expect today from commercial partners? I mean, it's obviously helping the club with financial sustainability, but what else? And are you facing any challenges today, being, one of the big clubs, but equally, facing some of the usual challenges?
In terms of challenges, I would say that we're facing what every club is facing, regardless of the scale. Yes, we do have some certain things that are tailored for us challenges. Knowing that the government here in Saudi Arabia is transforming from being governmentally owned to privatization, we're already in the privatization, we're already private. So not knowing how to deal with it because we're the first and pioneering in it, that is one of the challenges because companies do not understand how to deal with such thing. Two is how to activate that partnership and alliance and sponsorship. The activation part here in this part of the world is not explored as it should be. Living in the States and different states and living in like in Spain, both in Barcelona and Madrid, I understand what happens. How to bring it here and who does it here is another challenge. We are definitely looking to have more partners, alliance, and commercial. And I think we're at least in the right direction. Being here and looking for opportunities is the first step, I think, for everyone. It will take us some time, but hopefully we can accelerate that and overcome those challenges because it is exciting here in Saudi Arabia and the growth is tremendous. I would say, let's not look at the challenges, we'll look at the opportunities. You have a community that is willing to learn, very young, with a lot of opportunities. So knowing that more than 60% of the attendees here are from out of Saudi Arabia means that they are willing to invest, and we're looking forward to make that connection.
Very good. And I guess this is why we are all here today, to really dig into these opportunities. Layan, back to you. So you are playing with the national team, but you are also playing with your club, Ittihad, as part of now the Premier League. How do you evaluate the level of the league with today foreign players from more than 25 countries? And then more importantly, how do you see the development of this league going forward?
Sure thing. Well, I see that definitely the level of the league has drastically changed since just one season ago, with the more foreign players coming, for example. And in my opinion, as I was telling you earlier, in my opinion, I think the most critical part and the most impactful thing that has happened to Saudi women's football is having the foreign players come to Saudi, because all of the foreign players that I know and I've heard of are very humble, incredible people, and they're all here to develop women's football here. And honestly, it's been the biggest impact because they really set the standards. They really are role models to us because they've been through more experiences. We even have Ashley Plumter in our team. She recently came this season, as well as Selma and Layan Robe. They all came here from, Selma and Ashley came directly from the World Cup to Ittihad. So it was just incredible to have world-class players join us. It really sets high standards. They really raised the level for the league. So definitely they played a big part in this, and I see that the level is increasing. I mean, every stage of this league, you see it's getting more competitive. The coaches that we got also last season and this season made a huge change in developing women's football. So everything is just getting more competitive. Everything is improving day by day.
Okay. And then Monika, back to you. So talking a bit about the development of the game going forward, your role is obviously evolving from now coach to technical director of women's football in Saudi. What's next for women's football, and what are you working on today that's going to take the game to even higher levels?
Well, I think we heard this morning what we have established in 2 years, and it's really amazing. And when I started as a coach, I was looking for everything, so I thought, this is too much. I gonna go in that role as a technical director, and now it's even more work, I think, than just being a coach. And it's like the Premier League. Just Layan was saying, you know, when we started in the second year, we asked all the men club who want to have a women team, and right away 5 on the top: Al Nassr, Al Shabab, Ittihad, Al Ali, and Hilal. They said they want to have a women team, and I just feel that is amazing how the whole population, how men are really supportive, and most of them are leading by men, all these clubs, that they want women football. And this year we have 7, Qassia and also Riyadh, coming to the Premier League. And every game is shown, broadcast on the Friday, Saturday live, so everybody can see this in the whole world. Yeah. So I think that is a really great establishment. And I think we don't know, like Lamia was saying this morning, that football existed before. We started to have it in 2019, organized, structured under the umbrella of SAF. And now we have a national team being in the FIFA rang list, and we played over 17 games already in the short period of time. We established an under 17 because we had the academies from 4, 5, 6, 7 years until 17 years old girls who is their dream to be one day a national player. Yeah. And the coach education, we are really looking for that, because we have 28 B license coaches, 172 C license, and all the D license, 800 from the school. So this is a sustainability, and it's something not just happened for today and tomorrow, it's for the future. And the strategy is very clear that every girl who wants to play can play football, and this opportunity they get. So I think it's something we really, from the strategy, how it is built up, it has a bright future in women football. So I think the management, of course, with Lamia, Alia, and Atwa in the back, but they know exactly where they want to go. So I'm just more or less implementing or trying to work that out. And I hope many more people are coming here to Saudi, and especially foreign players, who will even attract more these women league as much as the men league.
Yeah, I agree with you, and myself also working with Adwa, Lamia, and Alia. I mean, I can testify to their vision and their commitment to developing the women's game, for sure.
And you need these people who have such a passion, such a desire to make something happen. And then if you have these people, you go.
Exactly. Very good. So we spoke about having opportunities for talent to develop, and then Misha, back to you on getting learnings from other leagues and other systems. What are the success factors to attracting and developing talent, whether it's local talent or foreign talent that's going to come and help the local talent grow?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the making women's football part of popular culture is a huge element of making it, of building the sport, right? So it means when you have when you have top players that you're bringing here, how are you working with those players to really, to raise the profile of the game, to bring people closer to the game? A lot of it is just in many places, women's football, even in some of the more developed places around the world, it's still relatively new, right? But what we're seeing now is becoming much more accepted because you see it a lot more, right? So, and it can't just be around major events. It can't just be around the World Cup or, Asian Cup. It needs to be, it needs to be much more in the everyday life. So that, the coverage, you know, in the media of the leagues and the players, the talk shows and things like that. You see a lot of, you know, the players, let's say in the U.S. and in England. They go on TV shows that you know, that are seen more broadly. It's what they're doing so well, and what we can learn with women's sports from other sports is that this idea of storytelling, right? How do we give people? We need to give people a reason to care. And someone told me once that the shortest distance between two people is a story. Right? So if you think about it, not everyone, because of culture, because of their preferences or whatnot, would necessarily be a women's football fan, or a football fan for that matter. But if you feel connected to the people, if you start to understand the journeys that we're talking about, right? You feel connected to the characters, right, that you're watching. You will feel much more invested in that sport, in those teams, in those players, in those rivalries, and so on. And that's what and that's what's done so well in other parts of the world, and not just the women's sport, but sports more generally. So this idea of, you know, creating documentaries, you know, getting players more more involved in popular culture, so that people in general public who don't necessarily come to a football game may have seen him on a talk show and said, I really like her. She's really interesting. You know, and I didn't realize she's really into, into cooking or into things that other people can relate to. So I think we need to find a way to fuse, you know, to your point, to fuse football, women's football, with mainstream culture, so that people more broadly become interested in, you know, in what you're doing, and they want to be part of it. They say, hey, I'm invested. I know this individual. I love their story. I can feel connected. I come from that part of the world, or I had that part of the country, or I had those similar challenges. So I think that's, you know, that's important. And the second point is, how do you make sure that you're bringing, I'll back up, is that you treat, you approach football like you would a sophisticated business. And what sophisticated businesses do really well is that they understand exactly who their customers are and how to speak to them, right? So the worst thing you can do is treat women's football as a female version of the men's game. It's not, okay? And people who are interested in it are not necessarily the same people. So again, what you learn is that once you understand that you've got families, or you've got single men, or you've got so on, so there are many different types of people who might be interested, and there's a different way of speaking to them. Angel City, for example, said that the biggest demographic that they had at their opening game of last season were single men. And I bet you no one in this audience would probably guess that, right? But those are the types of things that you need to think about as you grow in the sport, is thinking more widely, not just men's game and how would you speak to the same people, get them interested in the women's game, but how do we think about creating something that is, you know, an opportunity to create something from scratch now, you know, without any sort of history and any hang-ups. How do we do that? How do we bring people into that universe, speak to them from a young age to, you know, to the families and so on? That's what we can learn, I think, from my experience.
Absolutely. I think this is the point that we spoke about with Henrik earlier, about using technology to accelerate and making sure that we're not just replicating what exists, but maybe finding opportunities to leapfrog sometimes the men's game. Henrik, back to you. So you have seen a lot, and you have developed a lot of products and services and technologies. My question is, what was the biggest surprise you have seen from the game development perspective as you were contributing to the development of the game?
Yeah, I think just touching on Misha's point here, I think, as you say, it's super important to bring more awareness and bring the women's side into popular culture. But I think it's also very important to bring awareness on the youth side of sport. And I think this is where video plays a very important role. I mean, video accelerates talent development. It can help Monika develop better coaches and better players. But if there's more video in youth sport, that gives the opportunity for players, young players, to share their amazing goals, tackles, saves, all the unique moments that happens on a field, where they can share that on social media or whatever channels they have. That brings an enormous awareness about the sport. So the sport and the clubs can actually attract more players to the game. Because I think one of the biggest threats to youth sports around the world is that kids spend too much time on their phones, too much time on gaming, too much time on playing. So what can we do to attract youth back into the sport? And when we can bring more awareness, not only from the amazing stories from you and from the professional side, but can we actually help accelerate the stories from the youth leagues? I think that can actually attract more young people to play more sport.
Okay. Thank you, Henrik. I'm told I need to wrap up the panel, but I do have a last question. So Layan, we opened with you and we're going to close with you. You're obviously very young and you have your whole career ahead of you, but equally, do you feel a responsibility to raise awareness to future generations as well? And what would be your message to future generations who want to be a player like you?
Wow, that's an amazing question. Well, definitely what I've come to realize with this insane journey is that being a national team player is bigger than just you. At first you think, you get excited and you get wrapped up in the game and you're just, oh, why didn't I miss that shot and stuff like that. But then you just realize the platform you're in, the people that are supporting you, the people that are looking up to you, the people that are with you on the journey. You gotta be there for them too, and it's a team sport in the end, it's not just you. So I realized that we definitely, especially like Enrique said, that the children nowadays and this generation are on social media so much, so they do see our journey every step of the way. So we do have a responsibility to show them. I mean, I personally feel a responsibility to show the young girls in Saudi and all over the world what it means to be a respectful, hardworking, professional athlete, here in Saudi. And I think that's really important, and it is a responsibility.
Thanks a lot, Layan. I mean, we could speak for hours and hours about the learnings, about the aspirations, but unfortunately we have to end it here. Thank you a lot for attending, and we hope to interact with all of you after the panel. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.